Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom is back and welcome back to another episode of Solid Drives. Now, we are well and truly over the halfway mark in the year of 2021. As I'm recording this video, the date is July the 30th, 2021, and because of that, I want to reflect on every single legendary prize car that has been awarded in Top Drives this year and how useful each one has been to me or to you guys, to the winners of said prize cars. Now, one interesting thing I have to note is that now that we're approaching our 8th month of 2021, we haven't seen a single car content update in the game. It is honestly quite worrying, if you ask me, that we haven't seen a car content update in that long. Let me know down in the comments below if Hutch is taking too long for their updates. But with that said, these are the tiers that I'm going to be grading the prize cars. The highest, or the top one, is going to be Elite Investment. This is like, you know, you upgraded all your prize cars, not prize cars, you upgraded all your epics, and you upgraded your legendary. But you know what? All that investment was worth it because you got a car that pays the big bucks, right? Underneath Elite Investment, we have an Exceptional Investment. These are cars that are still fantastic, but not really elite level, but they're still really good. And then next up, we have Average Assessment. These are the prize cars that have been, you know, they're okay. They've shown that they can shine in, you know, particular events, but it's not like they're going to be picked in your A team all the time. Under Average Assessment, we have Underwhelming Contestant. These are the cars where you thought were going to get you more value, but they really didn't. And last but not least, we have Severe Resentment. I was going to call it Severe Depressant, but I decided to go for Severe Resentment. Either way, it's the worst of the worst. These are the cars that make you feel absolutely down because of how worthless they actually are. So with that said, guys, I've also won every single prize car in 2021 bar 4. The only 4 prize cars that I did not win this year was the Citroen GT, the Jaguar XJR9, that one still hurts, the AMG SLS GT3, and the Pagani Zonda 760S. That being said though, I've had my experiences with 3 out of 4 of them. One of them I've actually never had an experience with because it just shows how useless that one prize car is. But without further ado, let's get into it, starting us off with the Alfa Romeo 164 Pro car. Now, the 164 Pro car is probably going to be in the highest of Exceptional Investment. I really want to put it in Elite Investment, but the problem with the Alfa Romeo 164 Pro car is that for some reason, I just don't really believe in its handling. Yes, it's lightweight. Yes, it has a low 0 to 60, very low 0 to 60, and yes, you know, it's very nimble. That being said though, 91 handling is a little low for RQ90, especially when you compare it to other Italian prize cars like the Zonda Revolution. Now, I know that the Zonda Revolution has 7 more RQ. That being said though, if it was a twisty road, a twisty circuit, you kind of want to go with a car that is able to hit 98, 99 handling. And obviously this is going to be a high tier video where we're comparing legendary prize cars with legendary prize cars. So the only reason why I'm not putting the Alpha in Elite Investment is because of that low handling. That being said though, it's a fantastic machine, one of the best 80s cars in the game, one of the best, if not the best, saloon car in the game. Very fantastic car. I was really happy to win that. Second up, we have the Bentley R. Now, the Bentley R is unfortunately an underwhelming contestant. I've only really used it ever since winning it in daily events, and usually daily events with rain, and that's because I'm using it out of pity. I probably have better options, and I have to be completely honest with you, I hate saying this, but the Jaguar Project 8 is actually a better option for the 4-wheel drive UK cars. But, you know, I'm kind of using it out of pity just because, hey, I want it, I'm going to use it. But to be completely honest with you, I haven't had a chance to use the Bentley R. However, it does have a pretty interesting niche that it is a 90s car. So at least it's in a less oversaturated and less competitive niche. If that had those, if the Bentley R had those stats and it was like a 2010s car and it was competing with all the McLarens and the Astons, well, I'm naming the DBS, or maybe, you know, some of the Bugattis, then the Bentley R would be completely useless. So it's because of that 90s niche that kind of saves it from Severe Resentment. Moving on now is the BMW M3 GTR. This one really hurts me because it is a Severe Resentment. I like this car, okay? It has decent MRA, but the top speed isn't very high. It's a lightweight car, but low 0 to 60 for its RQ, and it handles incredibly well. Yesterday, we talked about, you know, some of the best RQ81s in the game, and I was talking about the Viper ACR. The Viper ACR has 91 handling. This has 92. So honestly, yes, it is one of the better RQ81s in the game. But to be completely honest with you, ever since winning the M3 GTR, as much as I've wanted to use it, I've just never had the chance. It's just not that good, unfortunately. And I think that it does share about the same base stats as the Mazda Furai, which is an Epic, which means that that is so much more common, especially in a max variation, where else the M3 GTR, you're not going to see it max very often anyway. So unfortunately, I think it's a pretty useless prize car. I like it, but I've never used it. Moving on now is the Chrysler ME412. That's an average assessment. Now, when I first won the Chrysler ME412 this year, I thought it was going to be an underwhelming car. I thought it would be a car that I will never ever use. That being said though, I actually do use it quite a bit just because of the insane MRA that it has, but more importantly, that high top speed. So this is kind of like the car that I'm using to replace my Dodge Demon on the 1 mile and the testable. And what makes this car amazing is that it's also a Ford GT90 killer. So it's, you know, having that one up is actually a pretty big niche. And having this alongside my Dodge Demon is a huge plus because now I can specifically put my Demons on the shorter drag and I can put my ME412 on the longer drag. So in the end, I've actually had a decent amount of use in the Chrysler ME412, especially in clubs when there's USA ×5 speed of light. I like to use this and the Demon. They go hand in hand perfectly. So I have to say that the Chrysler ME412 was a bit of a shining light into what I thought was going to be an underwhelming prize win. Following this is going to be the Citroen GT. The Citroen GT is an underwhelming contestant. The MRA is actually pretty good. Top speed is high. 0 to 60 is average for its RQ, and the handling is also average for its RQ. The Citroen GT is a car that I did not win, but I do not regret not winning, and a car that I never really ever see. I have seen it, especially in clubs, and there have been a couple multiplayer events where I've seen the Citroen GT, but it's not like it has been a threat to me, especially since I own the FAP, and before winning the FAP, I already had cars like the Bugatti Chiron and the Veyron Supersport, so the Citroen GT was never really much of a threat, but, you know, I have seen people get some use out of it, so because of that, I'm not putting it in severe resentment. Moving on is the Gumpert Apollo R. The Gumpert Apollo R is an underwhelming contestant. It is the literal definition of an underwhelming contestant. You think that the Gumpert Apollo R was going to be a fantastic car. The problem is, it's just a slightly worse version of the Porsche 962C. They have the same 0 to 60, they have the same handling, but the Gumpert has a lower top speed and a worse MRA, just making it a slightly worse version of a 962C, which isn't even an exclusive prize car, and has been in the game since 2017, which means that a lot of players own the 962C already. So the Gumpert Apollo R kind of just stepped into the shadow of the 962C. Not to mention that there are much better cars like the Moby Dick and the 918, just to name a couple. So unfortunately, the Gumpert Apollo R, I haven't gotten a lot of use out of it, and I'm gonna put it under underwhelming contestant in my opinion from my experiences. Now, the next one is the Jaguar XJR9. Now, this is a prize car that I did not win, and I regret not winning because this thing is absolutely fantastic. It is an elite investment. I see it all the time, and whenever there's a Jaguar event, I steer clear of it now because I know that I don't have a single chance because of the Jaguar XJR9. But not only is it super useful in a Jaguar event, it's basically useful in anything that it's good at, anything that's dry, right? It's fantastic in Jaguar events, GE events, 80s events, or whatever year it's part of. This thing is absolutely fantastic. Motorsport events, one-seater events, because one-seater events always happen, just kidding. But yeah, the Jaguar XJR9 is absolutely fantastic, and it still hurts me till this day that I did not win it. For those that don't know, I got 11th place in this final, and it's probably my lowest point in top drives for 2021. That thing is a beast. Congratulations to everybody that won it. Moving on is the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute, and that is going to be joining the Jag in elite investment. What you're getting in the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute is that you're getting the absolute best dragster in the game. You are getting a Bugatti Chiron killer and a Bugatti Chiron Sport killer. This thing is unbeatable on the quarter, the half, the one, and especially the testable. The Jesko Absolute is a fantastic car, and I'm planning one day, hopefully this year, that I will 996 it. I've won this car. I think, when did I win this? It was, I think, May, and I'm pretty sure that I already have about 3,000 races or so on it, maybe 2,000, 3,000. The Jesko Absolute is a car that I use every day. It has already won me regularly, not regular, but it's already won me several multiplayer events, and I use it in clubs all the time. Whenever it's two-seater, whenever it's rear-wheel drive, whenever it's petrol, I'm always going to use the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute. That is the best drag car to date in the game. Moving on now is the Koenigsegg One. The Koenigsegg One, to be completely honest, is, I would say, a low-tier exceptional investment. I might even bring it down to an average assessment. The One, unfortunately, just isn't. It's a bit of an all-rounder, but all-rounders for legendaries are usually really good, but the Koenigsegg One is an all-rounder in the bad sense, because when it comes to twisty cars, you're not going to use the One. You're going to use cars like the Jaguar XJR9 or the HDI FAP, and if it comes to the drags, unfortunately, the One is not as good as the Chiron Sport. The Chiron Sport still takes the edge, and on top of that, we just talked about the Jesko, who is the daddy dragster. So unfortunately, the Koenigsegg One is, although a fantastic car, is kind of second place, third place, and everything. So unfortunately, no way is it getting elite investment, and I'm pretty sure that I really want to put it in average assessment. For now, I'm going to keep it an exceptional investment just because standing alone, the One is still a fantastic car. Don't get me wrong. High top speed, amazing MRA, low 0 to 60, but the problem is it just doesn't win anything. Moving on is the Lancia LC2. The Lancia LC2 is an exceptional investment. It really is a fantastic car, and it is basically an Italian 962. Unlike the Gumpert, which is a worse version of the 962, the Lancia LC2 is just a little better, right? It has fantastic MRA as well, same 0 to 60, same handling, and a high top speed. It's a fantastic car that's also lightweight, and I have used it a lot in the Italian events in clubs and the Italian events in the multiplayer campaign in the multiplayer area of the game. Moving on is the McLaren P1 GTR. This one is going to be a hot take. I'm going to say that it is an exceptional investment just because it's kind of like the Koenigsegg One. It's not going to win any of the fast because the Jesko Absolute exists. I feel like maybe the McLaren P1 GTR is still the best car for the fast circuit, but I'm pretty sure that the Bugatti Chiron Sport actually still beats it. And when it comes to the twisties, it is now second to the Peugeot HDI FAP. Unfortunately, because of the Peugeot HDI FAP, I have to put the P1 GTR under exceptional investment. If the FAP wasn't released, the P1 GTR for sure would have been an elite investment. That being said though, that Peugeot is something else. Now, moving on is the Mercedes-AMG SLS GT3. To be fair, it's an average assessment. This is another prize car that I did not win this year. However, I haven't seen a lot of people use it as well. It is still the best Mercedes in the game, the highest handling Mercedes in the game, and in fact, it's one of the highest handling cars in the game. It was incredibly useful in that one Mercedes Bentley event that we had last month, but I managed to tier 1 that even without owning the Mercedes-AMG SLS GT3. That being said though, it has gotten some uses. It is a very high handling car, and at the end of the day, I think it's just really average. Now, going back to what I was saying in the introduction, remember I said that there were 4 prize cars I didn't win, but at least I've seen 3 of them being used quite frequently, but one I've never seen. That one is the Pagani Zonda 760. To be completely honest with you, when I was gathering the resources and the images to make this video, I totally forgot that the Zonda 760 RS was even given out this year. The Zonda is useless. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, like I've never seen anybody use it in clubs. I've never even seen it used in multiplayer events. The 760 RS is kind of in the shadow of the LC2 or the Revolution or the Alfa Romeo Pro car. It is really, I mean, I think it is literally the worst Italian prize car given out this year, right? Yeah, because the Alfa, the Lancia, it is the worst Italian prize car given out this year. Wow, I'm actually really surprised. Not a single Lamborghini has been given out this year. So no Veneno, no rerun of the Urus, or the Sesto, or the SVJ, or the Huracan Performante. That's actually pretty interesting. Not a single Lamborghini prize car. Wow. Okay, anyway, moving on now is going to be the Peugeot T16 Evo 2. The Peugeot T16 Evo 2, for me, is an elite investment, because I don't own a Lancia HF Evolution. I don't own the Peugeot WRC. I don't have any other legendary off-roader besides the T16. And of course, I have to to irradiate, what's the word I'm looking for? I have to say once again, because I can't think of that word, that this is my opinion and from my experiences. So personally, the Peugeot 205 T16 is an elite investment for me. I use it all the time in clubs daily, and I use it in the French dailies as well. And because another niche that it has is that it has medium ground clearance, so whenever there's a French event with a city street, I am most likely going to be using the Peugeot 205 as well if RQ persists. Now, moving on is the Peugeot 908 HDI FAP. Needs no introduction. This is, in my opinion, the best prize car given out in 2021. The Peugeot 908 HDI FAP. That thing is the definition of elite. High MRA, high top speed, low 0 to 60, and a stock handling of 90 absolutely insane. And if you max it out, which to be fair isn't actually that far-fetched for a car that good, it is able to beat the Caterham Superlight on the slalom. Drop the mic. Anyway, moving on is the 911 Carrera GT1 road car. It's a severe resentment. I mean, this is not a car that I won this year, but this is a car that I've won back in 2018, and to be completely honest with you, I never really used it. I've used it only twice, and to be fair, it has won me a carbon fiber, but that's one carbon fiber in about 3 years. Not really stonks, if you ask me. Next up is the TVR. The TVR is a severe resentment. Now, literally yesterday, the TVR event just ended, and in that event, TVRs got bonus points, and it was full of drag. So you think it's a perfect event for the Subaru Speed12. The problem is, the McLaren short tail exists. So unfortunately, we had a TVR event where the best TVR in the game wasn't even useful. So unfortunately, and that was its only time to shine, because outside of that, I've actually never used a TVR before. So because of that, it's a severe resentment. Last but not least is the Volkswagen W12 Nardo. Just useless. Absolutely useless. But anyway, this is my list. Let me know if you agree with me or not. I know there's going to be a lot of debate for that P1 GTR. I feel like a lot of people think it should be an elite investment, and maybe some people might even disagree that putting the T16 Evo, I'm putting the T16 Evo Peugeot too high. But like I said, it's from my personal experiences. That's the only legendary off-road that I have, so it means a lot more to me than it might mean to you if you own the Lancias or the Peugeot WRC. That being said though, I hope you guys have a great day. Remember, stay safe, and comment down below what you think the next prize car is going to be. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace. I bring the toast in the back and we going berserk with the guns on the rack, and we taking account to the sound of the crack. Running from us with the pop and the, cause we're making the moves and the sound of the P. Calling the shots, if it's looking at me, and we taking account to the flow in the back with the drop in the cash. You know this ain't a prank. Moving like water, talking with fire. Bounce back on the cover to mama's desire. Keep riding the flames like a man on a mission. Rejected again, but you better go listen. Pop up at Billy, run up the Billy. My face on the boards and you all gonna see me. I whip my wrist to look guys in his yachty. Flexing the club, something sincerely Louis. Hey. Yeah, hey, yeah. What you gonna think of me? I hit it.